Okay, everyone, good evening. Welcome to our second edition of GSC's Nature Nearby webinar series, Winter Wonders and the Joy of Cross Country Skiing. Whether you're a seasoned GSC event participant or this is your first time attending a GSC event, thank you for tuning in. GSC has a long history of educating the public about geography and its important uses since 1898, and we are happy to keep the momentum alive with our curated events that highlight the relevance of geography today. My name is Natalie, and I'm with the GSC office. I'll be moderating tonight's Nature Nearby webinar. This series focuses on staying active and connecting with nature year-round. Whether you're into hiking, biking, kayaking, or cross-country skiing, we'll show you how to access incredible outdoor experiences right from the city. Tonight's webinar will be presented by Peggy Browning, who will share her love for the winter sport of cross-country skiing. Whether you're new to the sport or a seasoned veteran, there will be something here for you. Peggy will talk about what kinds of equipment we will need to be successful on the trails to keep both safe and warm, as well as tips on where to buy or rent equipment. Um, I got myself lost. Okay. Additionally, Peggy will navigate us through the city's most accessible trails right here in our backyard and get us out and moving on those snowy days. Peggy is a Chicago suburb native who is a lover of the outdoors. As a college athlete, Peggy learned the importance of staying active throughout the seasons. During her college years, she spent time with her family in northern Wisconsin, where she learned to cross country ski and fell in love with the sport. When Peggy isn't outside enjoying nature, you can find her teaching guitar and banjo at the Old Town School of Folk Music, bringing people together with a mutual love of music. Before we begin, we want to invite you to be interactive with this presentation. And if you have any questions at any time, feel free to raise your hand or type a message in the chat box. Additionally, we will have a final Q&A at the end of the evening. Peggy, thank you so much for being with us today and sharing your love and expertise of the natural beauty just beyond our doorsteps. Go ahead and take it away whenever you're ready.
Okay, I'm ready.
Wonderful.
First of all, thank you for having me. I'm excited to share what I love. And thank you for that lovely introduction. I was thinking to add to the introduction, I was just going to sort of take everybody through sort of my journey of how I started cross country skiing and where how I got so hooked on it. And like you said, in college, I played sports. I played ultimate frisbee, and many of the people we played, 4 days a week. And so when winter came, we had people had to get outside. But even before that, I think my sister had this little cabin up in northern Wisconsin, and we would go up there. And winter time up there is just magical. And people, if you go up there, you'll see that like nobody hates winter up there. There's just a love of winter. And so you sort of get into that. Like you're like, there's no like, oh, it's too cold to go outside. Everybody just goes outside. And I think it's just because they're so used to having so much snow that they just do it. And so you end up falling in love with it because everybody else is falling, everybody else is smiling and everybody else is having fun with it. So anyway, so I used to go up there, and I still do go up there. There's a place right in Minocqua, right on the outskirts, that's called Winter Park, and that's really where I began to ski. And we would go probably once a year and stay for a week or two. And we ended up befriending some of the people in the ski chalet, and they taught us how to ski, though many times we just went out on our own and just sort of figured it out. But then we went on, they helped us decide what kind of skis to buy and what's best for your height and your weight. And then you sort of get into, more in-depth skiing, and you just fall deeper and deeper in love with it. And then my college friends, they also, I had a very good friend, her name's Michelle, and she loved cross country skiing since she was a kid. And one of her mom's sayings was, the weather is only bad if you're inside looking out. So like she would send her, get outside and see how the weather is. So I used to always love that. I still use that because I think about that. Like you don't know what the weather is till you're out in it. And most times it's pretty good. Um, so anyway, so I bought skis up there, and then I brought them back to Chicago. And when you have them here in Chicago, what's so special about that is when it does snow, you can just grab your skis and head out the door. You don't have to worry about renting or figuring out where you're going to get your skis. And so many times we've had blizzards and people can't get out to do anything. And I've skied to the grocery store, or one time it was a huge blizzard and me and my friend Maura, who you'll see her, she's in a lot of these pictures. We got on our skis and we skied all the way to the lakefront on the roads because nobody had plowed. And then we skied back. And so every time it snows, it's just magical. And you end up befriending people as well that love the snow. And me and my friend Laura will call each other, it's snowing, are you gonna go outside, what are you gonna do? It's just exciting. And I wanted to say also, meeting people, that's exactly how I met Natalie. Is I was carrying my skis to the park, and this woman screams from her car door or her car window, can I ask you questions? And I was like, sure. And I just started talking because I love to talk about it. And then she told me where she was from and would I like to do a webinar. So that's how we came to this, which is really great.
It is. Thank you for being here.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you for carrying your skis when I needed you.
Right, I know. I know it's funny. I said, oh, that was, I said, how funny that we met. And you go, well, you were carrying your skis. And I was like, oh yeah, that's true. So anyway, so that's just how I started to fall in love with it. And then fast forward a little bit, and I love running as well. And as you get older, your knees start to get a little creaky, and cross country skiing is just so wonderful on your joints. And I realize that it's a lot like running because you get a rhythm and you can go out and not worry so much about doing damage to your joints. But we'll get into some of that in the later slides. Um, I think that's it. I think we'll begin and we'll start talking about some of the other aspects of cross country skiing fun. So here we go. The benefits of cross country skiing. Hold on, I gotta get with you. We split it up into three: physical, mental, and social. And so I was just going to talk through some of the great benefits of this great sport. I think I just had mentioned a minute ago that the physical part of it, it's so easy on your joints, but it is an amazing workout, and every muscle in your body is working, upper body and lower body. And so that's a huge benefit, especially since you can do it and not damage. I mean, I have to say it can get hard, but it's not for your knees or for your shoulders. It's very good for your body. And when you're done, you come back and you have an amazing sleep. And so it's really good for that. You get sunshine and you get vitamin D, and that's just obviously good for you. And one thing I wanted to mention was that because there was the Winter Olympics, that they did a study on some of the athletes in the Winter Olympics, and they studied their VO2 max, which is the rate of oxygen that your body can consume and utilize. And it's a key factor of how they measure cardio fitness. And the cross country skiers were number one out of all the winter sports in the Winter Olympics. And I think they said because it's one of the sports where you're standing up and you're using your upper body and your lower body. So if you want to get a good workout, this is what you want to do. The next benefit is mental benefits. And I think I said earlier, even with the physical one, that you're out in the sunshine and you get vitamin D and you get exposure to sunlight. But also the sport is very meditative, and it's very rhythmic, and you can just get into this really nice place, and it's sort of meditative, and you can look around and the rest of life falls away for the hour or the 2 hours. Sometimes you're out there all day that you're skiing. And it's, you come back and you just realize there's like the news goes away, all the worries go away. And it's just really a lovely feeling to have that, because it's rare nowadays, I think, that you get to be in that state where you're just outside and you get to look at the trees and you get to sort of have your breath be in rhythm with the rest of nature, which is really lovely. And the last thing we're going to talk about is social, which I have some of my very best friends that I get to ski with, and having that winter kindred spirit. I People that I've met in Chicago, even I have these friends, two friends that they had just had a baby, and I had knee surgery, so I was laid up, and they texted me and they sent me pictures of them at the lakefront with their baby strapped on, and they were skiing when it snowed. And so it's just really fun to like connect with different winter people, and you'd be surprised how many people are out there that love the winter, and that you can actually say, I love when it's cold, I love when it snows, because it's fun. What else? I think that's the three that we had touched on. And any questions? Any thoughts? No, on that one?
I think you're going to find some people in Chicago. I mean, we get winter, and so it's kind of
Yeah,
expected. So you're going to find some kindred hearts that do enjoy the that cold weather. So
right,
I would agree.
right. Yeah. And sometimes I'm afraid to admit it to some people. I'm like, oh no, I can't tell them I like winter. um, So next we're going to just talk a little bit, like a little overview of what the skier's journey might be from, when you start getting ready to when you come back to your home or to your cabin or wherever you're done. And as we go through this is just an overview, and then we're going to delve in a little bit more in the other slides about, how to stay warm and where to find equipment and stuff like that. But first and foremost, getting prepared before you get out on the ski trails, is you have to decide what you're going to wear. And in order to do that, you have to check the weather, and you have to decide, if you're going to need one layer or two layers, or how many pairs of socks you're going to need. And I think the more you ski and the more you're outside in the winter, the more you're going to know that for yourself. And you have to research where you can get gear and where you can buy gear, or where if you want to rent gear, but you have to get all that in order. And then once you have what you're going to wear and you have your equipment, you have to decide where you're going to go. And you can either you can grab your skis and walk to the local park, which is what I do a lot of times, or there's places that you can drive to if you feel like, oh, I want to go on a little bit longer ski, I'm going to drive. And depending on what you decide, you're going to decide what to bring. Either if you're going for a drive, you might want to bring a sandwich or you do get hungry out there, a sandwich or a protein bar, and you're going to want to bring water. And if you're just going to the local park, sometimes I just grab a bottle of water and I'll put my water down on the beginning of the trail, and I'll do a couple loops and come back and grab cold water, as Natalie said. um, so that's sort of what you do to get prepared and where you're going to go. And then once you get to where you're going to go, and when you're on the trail, you're going to warm up a little bit, and you're going to stretch and make sure, your body's loose, and you're going to make sure all your equipment looks like it works fine, that your poles have the straps on them, and your skis you can get in and out of, and make sure that's all in working order. And then depending on where you go, sometimes there's skiing etiquette. And mostly at the local park, you can just go around in a circle and you don't have to worry too much about, which direction to go to. But it is sort of unspoken that if there's a bunch of skiers going around in a circle, you want to go the same direction as they're going, instead of, going the other direction and then always having to get off the trail and get back on and pass them that way. Um, and if you decide to go to a ski place, I'm not sure if it's called a resort. I don't know. Let's call it the ski place, like in a forest preserve. They're going to have the etiquette signs for you, and they're going to tell you that, this is a one-way trail. You can only go this certain way. Or they're going to have a sign that says, oh, this is a two-way trail. So watch out for other skiers coming your way. But they help you with that sort of etiquette. And then another thing I wanted to talk about, of course, is how to get the most enjoyment out of your trip. And I think the number one of the most important things is to take it at your own pace. And if your friend is behind you or in front of you, it doesn't matter. You can just ski at your own rate, and so that you can enjoy the whole thing, and you can look around, and you're not hurrying, or you're not waiting for somebody. And I think when you're out there, whenever I ski with friends, we'll start out together. And then, if someone's going faster, they just go. And then we'll always like stop at the corner where there's a turn. We'll stop for a sec and then check back in. And then we'll keep going, and we'll say, oh, let's go left here. And then we go left, and then we just go at our own pace again. But you have to remember to look around, and you have to remember to look at the trees and the birds and the other people smiling, and all that sort of good stuff. And then I was going to say the best part, but it's not really the best part. It's just part of the journey. But after you're done skiing, après ski, as we called it, um, you will feel wonderful, and you'll both your body and your mind, and you get to come back home, or where if you're staying in a cabin, or but in Chicago, you'd come back home and you get to get your hot tea or your coffee or a hot toddy, build a fire if you have a fire, or get soup, and just relax and enjoy that feeling, because it lasts a while, and then you sleep wonderfully. So that's the journey, and we're going to get into a little bit more of the specifics of how to keep warm and that sort of stuff in the later slides. Okay, I think we're ready to go to the next. Okay, so this is there's two types of skiing, and I kind of wanted to touch on this just because I think the skate skiing is getting bigger and bigger, and you should know about both of them. But most people are familiar with the Nordic skiing, which is where it's called classic skiing. And actually, they're both called Nordic. One's classic, one's skate skiing. And so most people are most familiar with the classic skiing. And that's, as you can see in the picture, it's where it's similar to walking or hiking, and you're going in a linear motion. And the skis are a little bit different than the skate skiing, but the skis for the classic skiing, they actually have what they call a grip zone, and it's like the ski. I don't know if you can see me, but the ski in the middle of the ski, there's either a grip, or sometimes you put wax there. It's called sticky wax, and you can put that in the middle of your ski as well. And the ski is bowed, so you push down on the grip, and then as you go forward, it bows up, and then the each side of the ski glides you forward. And so then you push down, and then you glide. And that's one reason why it's once you start skiing, it's important to have the correct skis, because if you can't push down, or if you're not heavy enough, or if you get skis that are too light and you're always on that grip zone, you want to make sure you can get on the grip and then glide, because you want to go forward. So that's the classic skiing. And then as you progress, there's something called skate skiing. And this is a little bit newer, though I think it's still pretty, I've done it for 10 or so years. And you can see on the right, and you can see how it's a little bit like ice skating, and there's the V-shaped motions, and you just glide through the woods. And those skis don't have any grip zone. Those are completely slick on the bottom, and they have a little bit of they have edges so that you can push off and go to each side. kind of like ice skates, and that's a little bit faster. And it's a beautiful, both of them are beautiful. I'll just say it just depends on what you like, or if I love both of them and I do both of them depending on where I am. But the skate skiing is you usually have to have groomed trails, as you can see how he's doing that. And he's at a place where they groom those trails, and you can see on either side of them, it's groomed for the classic skiing, and then he skis in the middle. Um, so those are the two kinds of skiing. Um, and they're both in the Olympics, and they're both really lovely. I'd suggest trying both. When you
Peggy,
can. Yeah.
do you ever have it so that like someone can do both on the same route? So they're out and they're skate skiing at first and then they're getting tired and they want to maybe do more traditional for a little bit. Like can you go in between and do both and the same trip?
Um, Probably not, because of the skis. You could, like, if you had your classic skis on, you could get into the middle there and try to and do a little bit of the skate skiing, but you would be stopped a little bit by the grip, by that grip that they have. But as far as the skate skiing in the grooves, it would be really hard. You would never get a forward motion because it's so slippery.
Hmm.
So you kind of need to have one or the other.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank
Yeah.
you.
Of course. Yeah. Any other questions on that one? No. So the next is just a fun video of me. And this is me, my friend Maura is videotaping this, but this is me in Monaco, Wisconsin, skate skiing. And you can see I'm in the middle there. And that's it. And you can see how beautiful it is. Okay. So let me get to the next. So we talked about being. Oh, whoops. I think the video is still playing. Do you see that? Do you see that, Natalie?
No, it's just playing on your end.
Oh, it is. Oh, well, there you go. Playing on my end. Sorry, guys. Um, okay, so we talked about earlier about how to stay warm a little bit about on your journey and what to wear. And I think me and Natalie talked a little bit about this, how sometimes that's the biggest fear when people go outside in the winter is they feel like they're going to be cold. And you don't want to be cold because that is not any fun. So it's really important to get the right clothing so that you're not cold and so that you can have fun. And I've done it the other way where I've cut corners and I've worn like whatever, my old sweater or something, that doesn't really keep me that warm. And it's just not that fun. So I suggest, even though sometimes it can get a little costly, but to buy good clothing to keep you warm. And you can buy one of each because I wear mine again and again. It doesn't matter. But anyway, so there's this layering system, which is lovely. I use it all the time, even not in skiing. I use it when I go to teach my classes. But so the base layer is what's going to be closest to your skin, and it's going to be tight. You want that layer pretty tight, and either at both on the top and on the bottoms. And you want long underwear, and then on the top you want like a tight, probably a thinner, like merino wool shirt to go on right next to your skin. And also that, like it says there, no cotton in big letters, just because cotton doesn't wick the moisture away. And so if you start to sweat out there, it's going to keep the moisture next to your skin and you're going to get really cold if you have something like cotton. So you want to have, merino wool, or sometimes, you can use silk or polyester. And any outdoor store could guide you as to what that is, and they could help you purchase that base layer, and they can help you with all these layers. And then you need nice warm socks. And on the base layer, I would say sometimes I wear two pairs of socks, so you can get really thin merino wool socks and then wear another pair on top of those as well. And then the mid layer is just a little bit thicker layer, and it's not as tight. So you can get, like, they have the like a mid-weight merino wool top, and sometimes they zip, and you can have them zip all the way up to your neck, so that'll keep you warm. And then you would want to get some sort of maybe fleece tights to go on the bottom, and you could maybe wear a vest if it's really cold. And all this, you want to make sure you check the weather, because you don't know, if it's 30 degrees as opposed to 0, you're going to decide what layers you want to wear. Do I need a base layer or an outer layer, or a mid layer and an outer? You'll kind of find that for yourself as to how cold you get, and you'll have to test it out. And then there's the outer layer, and that usually is windproof. When it's really cold, you want to have wind pants, and you want to have a great a wind jacket, so that the air can't get into your body. And then, of course, you want to have a really good hat and a neck gaiter. I always wear a neck gaiter. Those are really nice for two reasons: because they keep your neck warm, but also you can pull them up and you can put them over your nose and your mouth if you get cold, and pull them up and down while you breathe. And that's just really nice to have all that warm. And then sunglasses, or I wear sunglasses, or I just wear, if it's cloudy, I'll wear glasses that just have a clear lens. Or you can buy goggles. That's fine. But I mean, I don't think it's absolutely necessary to have goggles. You can make do with sunglasses. Um, what else was I going to say about that? Oh, and there is, I'm guessing a lot of people know the term smart wool. They were sort of for, like, what do you call that? The front runners of merino wool. But Smart Wool is a great company, and they just have good stuff to go on for all the layers.
That's like one of the washable ones, right? I feel like
Yeah,
it is. Yeah, so
yeah,
it's easier
yeah.
to work with.
Yeah, and Icebreaker is another one that I use. That's a great brand, and I use them for the base layer. They have really good long underwear. Um, so I
Wonderful.
think, yeah. So, and like I said, it's just really important. Maura says merino wool is essential.
Yes.
um, so, and like I said, you'll start to know what you need to wear once you go outside more in the winter. And I'm guessing you'll overdress the first time, and you'll go out there and you'll be like, oh my God, I'm so hot. But that's the beauty of layers too, is when you get hot, then you take off the top layer, or you tie your coat around your waist, because skiing is very athletic, and very, you get very warm once you start moving. So that's how you stay warm. And until I would say, do not be afraid of the cold, because there's so much clothing that can keep you warm and keep you comfortable. Okay, so next we're going to talk about the equipment. So obviously, your basic needs: you need your boots and your skis and your poles. And make sure, one thing, your basic needs, you want to make sure your boots fit really well, because you don't want to get blisters or anything. And, I would think if you're a beginner, you would want someone to help you decide what skis and, I don't know, what height and stuff that your poles should be, but any store can help you. But your poles have to be a certain height. I'll go under your armpit. I can't remember what the measure is. And you want to make sure that you have skis that fit you. Uh, and I think for the beginning, we'll talk about that later, where to purchase and where to rent. And then you want just like it says, comfort pieces, and you might want to bring a backpack if you're going a little bit longer, and you can put a sandwich in there. You can put your, you can put your water in there, or you might want to get a waist pack, like it says, for water. If you're going out way out in the woods, but if you're just going to the park, we probably don't need unless you get real hungry. Because you do burn a lot of energy, I'll tell you. So you might want to bring, one of those energy bars or whatever you like to eat, and then water. And we did research around Chicago just to see if there were more places to rent skis. And I guess because it doesn't snow as much as it used to in Chicago, which is really sad, that a lot of places don't rent cross country skis anymore, but they do sell them. And so we put down here places that you could purchase skis, which I'm sure everybody knows REI, and there's a few different REIs. There's Chicago and Oak Brook, and then I think there's actually one. Not sure if there's one in Skokie or not anymore. And then Viking Ski Shop is a long, that's been there forever, and they used to always rent, but now they only sell cross country skis. Um, and all these ski shops are really, really helpful in, if you wanted to ask them any questions about cross country skiing. They're very helpful in what you'd want to buy, or some of them I called and they directed me to other places to see if they would rent them. But the Scandinavian ski shop, I called up there as well. They're in Glenview, but they only sell. And then I listed the Winter Park Ski Shop, which is the one that I bought all my skis at. And you could call them anytime and they would help you decide what you needed to buy. And I'm not sure, I feel like they might even ship things, but that might be too hard. But they would certainly give you tips on what's good equipment and what you would want to buy. They're just super helpful up there. And I think that's about 5.5 hours from Chicago. So if you decided that, oh, you wanted to head up there, you could do that. And then you could meet the people in the ski shop and they would help you and you could buy them from there. And then the last place we found, which is the Sagawa Nordic Center, and they actually have a ski chalet and they have groomed trails. And so you can rent skis from them. Like if this was your first time going, you could rent skis from them, try it out, and go there and see how the groomed trails are. And you can go through the woods, and it would be a little more organized than you just trying to figure it out on your own in a park. But if you're new to it, it might be a good idea to go to a ski place first and just have them help you. And so until you get your feet wet, and then you can buy skis or rent skis and go into the park. Okay, I think that's it. Any questions on like where to buy or where to rent or anything? Anybody? Natalie?
No, I think that's great. And I know that I have experience from skiing in the past and the places when I was younger looking at them, they did like afters the season or right before the season, sometimes they had really great sales. So and then
Yeah,
I looked on Facebook Marketplace, they have stuff too. So, there's options to be able to find things that are a little less expensive and maybe not have to buy brand new.
right. That's a good idea. And I would say, after you start going out there, it is really fun to have your own skis and not to have to rent, because then you don't have to worry about, when it snows, it's like, oh, I just gonna get my skis and I'm gonna go out the door, and it's really fun to have your own skis. So that's just my little thought on that, on renting or buying.
Yeah, we just got a comment as well that
Oh,
in Benton Harbor, the Sarah Nature Center also rents skis. So that's in Michigan. So you're going to be on the opposite side of the water there. It's only a couple hours away, but apparently there's some great trails over there as well. So
oh, great.
you got to
Yeah,
check out, see what's happening.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And like and once you start to meet people, they'll be like, no, we went here. You'll be able to figure out where other people are going to ski as well. Yep.
Oh,
Okay.
talking about
So
places to ski.
yeah, so here we go. This is places to ski, and these are places that I've skied, and these are just suggestions. Depending on where you live, you're going to have a different park near you. But these are mostly, a couple of these are on the north side, and then of course the lakefront. But the first one, and this, when I'm just going out for a little bit, I'll just walk over to Horner Park, and that's the picture on the right, and that's a great place to ski. It's pretty big. I don't know, maybe it's a mile around or something like that. But the blue is where I think that's the sidewalk. But you can go right next to there, and you can go all around the park. And then the little pink trail is like right next to the river. And you can take that pink trail all like right next to the river, and it makes you feel like you're in the middle of, maybe you're in the middle of the Wisconsin and you're in the woods, and then you can go back into the park and you can circle around some of the baseball fields, and there's always dogs in the middle playing. So you get chased by a couple dogs. But I love just walking over there, and there's other skiers that ski there. So usually before I get there, there's already trails made, and you can just ski in those trails. But I wanted to say, even if trails are not made, you can make your own trails, and then they're made, and then you get to ski in those again as you go around. And so it doesn't matter if they're already made or not. And so then the other place I've skied at is the River Trail Path, which is between Lawrence and Peterson. And that's lovely. I think that goes for like 3 miles upright, almost next to the river. And you can you go up, and you might have to take off your skis for a minute to go across a road or something. And then you get to the other side, and then there's another mile of skiing or so. And then you can there's parks all through there as well. So you can do a loop and then come back around to the river trail. And if it's really, really snowy, there's underpasses. And if they haven't plowed yet, you can just go down on the underpass. And so you don't have to even cross the road. And that's beautiful through there. And I've seen eagles in there. There's millions of birds, and there's trees, and there's so much nature to look at along that river. The other place I go to sometimes is Wells Park, and that is a little bit smaller. I think that's maybe a half a mile around the whole park, but still it's lovely. And it's just, you can, they have like a little nature center in there, and you can go around the perimeter, and you can go a few times around. I'm seeing people could chime in now.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so Wells Park is just a little bit smaller, but nonetheless lovely, and just a park near me. And then, of course, there's always the lakefront trail of the lakefront, and that obviously, that's the beauty of Chicago, is they have all that. You have all that space on the lakefront, and when it snows, you can just go if you want to. If you live close to the lake, wonderful. I live about a few miles from there, so it's a drive. But you can go all up and down the lakefront, and also there's a golf course on the lakefront, and that's, I think, at Montrose. What did we say, Natalie? It was at
It's at
Montrose.
Irving. It's at Irving
Irving,
Park. Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah, and you don't have to pay if the golf courses aren't used in the winter. So many people just go in there and they ski on the golf courses. If there's a golf course near you, you can just go and ski. But that golf course is at Irving, and then that goes all along the lake as well. And then the last place that we have listed here is the Sagawau Nordic Center, which is in Lamont. I think that was about an hour and a half away, and that's where they actually groom the trails, and they rent the skis, and they might have lessons. I'm not sure. You could check into that, but they'd be helpful if it was like your first or second time skiing, and you just want to get your feet wet and you want to see what it's all about. And you can see we put a map up here. It's in the Forest Preserve, but these are the trails at the Sagawau Nordic Center. And the green ones are the easiest trails. And then the blue ones are a little bit more difficult, and you'll have some hills. And if you go other places, they'll have maps like this. And they'll also have black trails, and those are the most difficult. So green is easiest, blue is a little bit harder, and the black is the hardest. Um, but so yeah, and it's nice. And see how they have on this map. Now I'm looking at it. I didn't look at it that closely. See how they have the arrows? Those arrows are the direction. That's the etiquette we were talking about. So those are that's the direction that that trail is going, that you would want to ski in that direction.
So on the map, it also tells you approximately how far something is. Like this
Yeah.
route is going to take you this. Do you know, um, timing wise, do you know approximately how long it would take to have a ski for a mile?
Ooh, that's such a good question. Um, Not that long. That doesn't help you. I mean, I'm trying to think. I mean, I would say 15 minutes. I mean, I think if you're cruising, you could go a mile in 15 minutes. Anybody out there have a thought on that?
We can see.
Is anybody saying? I'm just curious.
Not yet.
Yeah,
Yeah. But I mean, if you're going casually, so, we maybe take a half an hour. Oh yeah, that would be true. She says it depends on if you're skating or you're striding.
yeah,
Um, I usually faster than a walk, but slower than a run. That seems pretty
yeah,
accurate. I was trying to think like if you want to go out, um,
yeah.
you don't know how long something's going to take you, and you're like worried. So
Oh,
yes.
sure. Yeah, yeah. Exactly. I'm guessing like if you went to this Sagawa, they would tell you approximately how long, or you could do a short loop and say like, oh, that only took us 20 minutes. Let's go back out.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, something like that until you get used to it. But I don't. Yeah, good question. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah. So those are the trails around the city. And I think that our next slide is just any park near you. I forgot to say that. You can go anywhere. Um, the next slide is just I just wanted to show some pictures of just how beautiful winter is. And these are a few of the places we talked about in the park. The one on the left is the river path that I talked about. And that's the one that goes from Lawrence all the way to Peterson, and you can see that somebody had made ski tracks. Maybe it was me. I don't know. But then you can see how the road is up ahead, and you would have to like just cross that road and keep going on that. But you can look at, you can see how beautiful, and many times there's birds or there's ducks on the river that you get to see. And then the middle picture is of Horner Park. And this was after a gigantic snowstorm. And I don't think I'd even skied yet. This was early in the morning, but I'm sure I went back and skied. And it was just so gorgeous. Like you can't, there's nobody out. It's quiet, and you just get to watch the sunrise. I mean, I just think that's so beautiful. And the picture on the right is also Horner Park, and that's where I was saying, if you go, this isn't the trail there that goes like around the baseball fields. This is like those pink trails, and this is right next to the river for the most part. And you can go in there, and you can just sort of get lost in the trees and the beauty of the river in that area. So those are the three. Just, I mean, I just think it's so pretty. Yeah.
Oh, I guess I
Oh,
got to thank you. Sorry, I jumped ahead.
oh, that's okay. That's okay. Yeah. So that's the whole journey of my cross country skiing and what I know about it. Yeah. If anybody, I know some people chimed in, but if anybody has questions or comments,
Yeah, we did
it
get a
was
question earlier. It just kind of jumped in. So it was a question about clothing.
Mhm.
What do you think about silk as a base layer?
About silk.
Hmm.
I think people still, I don't use it anymore. I used to have some silk tops. But I think it works great as a base layer.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think I'm partial to the wool, but I'm guessing, I definitely use silk for a long, long time. Yeah. So it'll keep you warm.
And I know you have an opinion about this one. What
Oh,
about mittens versus
oh,
gloves?
you know, I have an opinion. I love mittens, but my hands get really cold. So, some people can wear, and they have different kinds of gloves, really heavy gloves, but for some reason gloves just never keep my fingers warm. So I always wear mittens. And I forgot to say that sometimes I wear those hand warmers in my mittens to keep my I don't know, you know what I'm talking about, those little things you just plop into your mittens and then they keep your hands warm. They have feet ones too, but I'm not sure how that would do in a ski boot.
How comfortable it'd be. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it might cause a blister or something like that. Yeah.
Do you have like specific brands or anything that you really love when it comes to your mittens? Or I know we love Smart Wool, but is there anything else? Like, what do you consider good for the clothing wise?
I think I'm trying to think of what I don't know that I necessarily, I mean, I would just go to a good outdoor store and invest in what they tell you. I don't know if I have like a brand. I mean, obviously, the Smart Wool and the icebreakers. I love the icebreakers for the long underwear. As far as mittens, um, I just try them on and the ones that feel warmest. That's what I wear. So I don't know that I have a brand, that's a go-to for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So someone wants to know what kind of stretches you would recommend when you're first warming up.
Oh, I would just do I think if you know like like runner stretches, like I would stretch my hamstrings and my quads and maybe, like a calf, if you do those runners, those half stretches, or if you put your leg up on a table to stretch your hamstrings, or the quad stretch where you pull it behind your back, or behind your back, I guess. And then I would do some upper body stretches, some shoulder stuff like this, and just sort of, maybe you can wave your arms a little bit and warm up that way. And I
Awesome.
think, yeah, your whole body, it is a whole body workout. So you want to make sure you warm up your arms as well, and I think it's important to stretch afterwards too.
Yeah, afterwards you're like warmed up, right? So you
Yeah,
can kind of
yeah,
move your
yeah,
body a little bit. Yeah.
yeah. While you're enjoying your hot whatever. Yeah.
Definitely. Well, I think that based on our comments, we found a couple extra things that we need to make sure we take with us. Definitely taking your binoculars. We have some birders in this group, so
Oh, uh-huh.
um, so
Yep.
yeah, make sure that you are enjoying those moments while you're out on the trails, using that time to really enjoy that everything, right? Like the birds and Laura and Jean made a comment about stopping and looking at trees. So that all makes sense.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
That'll add a little time too. But you know what? If you see a beautiful spot and you took a sandwich, you can always take a little lunch break um, and just enjoy the peace. Once you're out there, you kind of get a little bit more. So,
Yeah.
okay.
Yes, exactly. I
Oh, we
see
got another
another.
question.
Yep.
Yeah, so how do you prefer to carry skis and poles? Say if you're just walking to a park, like how do you carry them? Do you have
Well, they
some?
have for your skis, they're like ski sleeves and you can slip them on. It's kind of hard to explain, but you slip the sleeve onto both skis so that it holds them together like this, on the top and the bottom. And then you can just put your poles there so it's like one package, and I just carry them like that. So you don't have two skis. It's like they get smushed together with this. I think it's called a ski sleeve. I think, or maybe it's called bones, where like they have these little bones that like so your skis stay together, so that you can carry those together, and then you can just hook your poles onto the top of the skis, and then you have one. just one thing to carry. They're pretty easy to carry once
They're
you,
light,
they're
right?
light. Yeah. And
Yeah.
once they're all together, when they're not all, yeah, you could use oh, look at, what does it say? In a pinch, a
Bungee
bungee
them.
them. Yeah, that's great. Yep.
Definitely.
Good idea.
And it's resourceful too. If
Yes.
you don't have everything, you just grab that and go.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
It seems like we got some good little skiers in this group, so we might need to, combine and see what if we needed to have a skiing group or something.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I
Uh,
know.
Actually, I have a question for the group if anybody has an answer to it. I was wondering if anybody is part of a skiing group, or I know that when I was walking through Lincoln Square the other day, I saw a thing on a wall of a restaurant that said that they had skiing and biking groups that meet. And so if you have one or if you know of any, just wanted to send that out there. Oh, and then we did get another message. It says your talk has such great information and it is so inspiring. So
Oh.
that's such wonderful news. We had such warm weather. I was worried that, we weren't going to
Yeah.
have our summer or excuse me, our winter lovers. But
I'm
yes.
hoping for one more big snow.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yes. So
Wonderful.
everybody out there, keep your thoughts on one more big snow. Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right, everyone. I think that we haven't had any other questions, but if they haven't come through, I'm happy to like jump back in. But I just want to thank you again for being here and sharing your knowledge with us tonight. Yes, Suzanne just said you did a great job, and I totally agree.
Great.
We're all inspired and a little less fearful about getting out to explore the surroundings and our beautiful city in in the cold weather that we do get. Additionally, I want to thank all of you who are our participants tonight. We wouldn't be doing these events if it wasn't for you. That being said, if you have any suggestions on topics or themes you would like GSC to feature in upcoming events, please reach out to our office at office@geographicsociety.org or in the chat. Um, we would love to hear from you. Um, and regarding events, I'd like to take the opportunity to share a few details about upcoming events that we have with GSC. This Saturday, GSC will be partnering with the Friends of the Chicago River at their 2026 Chicago River Student Congress at NEIU. That's from 8:30 in the morning to 1:30. Stop by and check out our display of our giant Illinois floor map. On St. Patrick's Day, Tuesday, March 17th at 1 p.m., we'll be hosting our monthly travelogue webinar, where our host will take us on a journey through Ireland, which you will not want to miss. And on Monday, March 23rd, we'll be hosting the ever popular Geo Trivia at Patty Mac's. Please join us for a fun night with your teammates and meet other travel and geography enthusiasts. Whew. And continue watching our newsletter for more information about these and other events planned throughout the year. If you need any more information, or you want information about joining our newsletter, becoming a GSC member, or donating to our organization, again, you can reach out to our office. We'd be happy to assist you. And that's all the announcements I have. So I just want to thank you all for being here. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Peggy, for jumping in and doing this with us.
Thank you, Natalie. I'm so happy we met.
Me too.
Yeah.
All right. We'll see you again later.
Okay, great.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.